honest mistake or an honest-to-God attempt at cancellation? Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and Gary Beekler, better known as Nerdrotic, had his press pass yanked for San Diego Comic-Con. We're going to go ahead and get in this article. Before we do, hit that subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I bring you nerdy news every day, and to be fair, we all know Gary a bit of a boomer. This very much could have been a mistake on his part, which is what he said in his live stream. But we've been seeing a lot of cancellation attempts, especially in the convention scene, when it comes to our side of the internet, we should say. In fact, we've been seeing it for several years, so it's not too far out of the realm of possibility to put your tinfoil hats on and say, yeah, this could be their way of attempting to silence Gary from Nerdrotic, and let's just get into the article from this place. YouTuber Nerdrotic reports his San Diego Comic-Con press pass was yanked. And I want to say, this is written by John F. Trent. I've very much made my thoughts on John F. Trent clear, but this is a big enough story, or at least in my opinion, an important enough story that I wanted to go ahead and talk about it, and there really aren't a lot of other outlets talking about it, at least not at the time as of recording this video. Gary Beekler, aka Nerdrotic, shared that his press pass for San Diego Comic-Con was yanked from the upcoming comic book convention this year. As reported by Fandom Pulse during a recent episode of his Nerdrotic Nooner Show with guest host Chris Gore, Beekler shared, "By the way, I just want to point out, I'm not making an issue of this. I just want to make it clear, no issue right now. My press pass got pulled, but it might be. It might be because I filled something out wrong, so it might be my fault. Just want to say, but it got yanked." And you know what? Again, I do appreciate that Gary's coming in and just not coming in hot, not throwing a fit at San Diego Comic-Con, because that's not going to be the best way to resolve this if he is to get his press pass back. At the end, you can't make friends with these types of individuals. You can't win them over. If they yanked his press pass because, oh, look, he's on the far right, he's a troll, he's an alt-right Nazi, whatever reasoning they want to use, if they're going to use that to pull his press pass and claim that he would make the guests feel unsafe, look, there's no getting it back. But if it is just him boomering it up, okay, fair enough, this could all be rectified, and the best way to go about getting it rectified is to play nice and just say, hey, mistakes were made, be calm, be cordial about it. But let's entertain the thought for a moment. Let's entertain the idea that this is, in fact, because of who he is. I mean, the dude did just cross the 1 million subscriber mark on YouTube. Gary has been blowing up the last several years. He has become, I mean, as Atreus calls him, the big nerd. Anytime you want to point to the guy on YouTube that is kind of the king of the nerds, especially in our space, the people that are just, the internet loves to hate because we talk about, I don't know the truth. Gary is the go-to. He is the big name. He's been featured in articles. They've crapped all over him in multiple hit pieces. He's been on Tim Pool. At this point, he's been on Piers Morgan. He's been on Piers Morgan alongside the Critical Drinker, somebody else that a lot of individuals on a certain side of the political aisle do not like when it comes to nerd culture. So with his name getting as big as it is, even though he's gone there in the past, he's been at Comic-Con in the past, with a press tour, with a press pass, mind you, yeah, they might be putting the kibosh on it now because they think that he is just getting too big to fail. They might want to stamp it out before it gets to be a problem, before they get inundated with angry comments on X about how unsafe the audience is going to feel by having a known, white supremacist, whatever sort of nonsense that they want to try and spin or justify. But Gary is actually considered press. I mean, at this point, again, since he's gone to Comic-Con with a press pass before, and he does spend his time reporting news on his channel, whether it be doing film reviews or talking about what's going on in current pop culture, yeah, sure, he may have made a lot of enemies in Hollywood because he spends his time eviscerating what's going on with nerd culture, but that doesn't mean what he's reporting isn't important, accurate, and very much just that, reporting. So giving the dude a press pass, I mean, that's a pretty apt thing for him to have. And so far as we can tell, even if they yanked his press pass, there's no word on him not being able to attend, as a regular convention goer. But not having his press pass, he does not get the access. He would only have standard attendee access. And, I mean, yeah, he can probably get some content from that. But let's be real. With the type of content creator that Gary is, with as large as he is, he needs that press pass to be able to actively do his job. When asked by Chris Gore for clarification the press pass was for San Diego Comic-Con, Beekler responded, yeah, trying to fix that, we're trying to fix it. Let's see if, is this the clip here? Yeah, right here, okay.
But my press pass got pulled. But it might be because I filled something out wrong. So it might be my fault. Just want to say.
Okay.
But it got yanked.
So wait a sec, for San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Because I was
trying
invited.
To fix it. We're trying to fix it.
Now, I will say, as somebody that's been following Chris Gore's career for years, I've been a fan of Chris Gore ever since DV Doomsday, way back on Attack of the Show, back in, the early to late 2000, like 2007, 2008, whenever it was, maybe even as early as 2005. I will say that Chris Gore's never gotten canceled for going to Comic-Con. He's been going for years upon years, and he also has the same association with, this alt-right cabal of evil internet nerds. Like, absolutely, Comic-Con knows who Chris Gore is. He's actually kind of the one that put Comic-Con on the map for the mainstream culture. You know, it was G4 that put San Diego Comic-Con on the map for the mainstream. It was all because of what Chris Gore did to bring the attention of the convention to G4. So they absolutely know who Chris Gore is. They know who he hangs around with. They know who he pals around with. They know who Gary is. So I do think that if they were going to cancel Gary, well, they absolutely would have canceled Chris Gore first, a long time ago. So that actually, in my opinion, lends credence to this not being a legitimate cancellation attempt and maybe some sort of mistake. But that could just be wishful thinking, or again, maybe because even though Chris Gore might be big in the Comic-Con circuit, he's not near that name as far as the internet zeitgeist goes that Gary is. Let's continue listening.
Yeah.
So I submitted 3 panels to WonderCon, all of which were rejected, including one we just do that's a sort of innocuous, the Independent Film Survival Guide. When we did that at LA Comic-Con, I don't think you were on that panel, Gary, but it was packed. We had a giant line of people asking questions and people genuinely just trying to help filmmakers, like, hey, do this. Here's how this works. There's a cheap way to do this. Like, it's one of those kind of panels that people like just because it's just there's a lot of instructional panels of how-tos, right?
So, again, if they're allowing Chris, I believe Chris Gore here, he's saying that, look, man, I do panels all the time. This is something that panels do get canceled, panels do get yanked. This is a normal thing. But also, Chris Gore's not coming out here and doing some angry sort of, let's be angry nerds at a panel. No, this is a very normal, innocuous panel about the filmmaking industry, specifically the indie filmmaking industry. You're going to have a whole lot of indie filmmakers at Comic-Con. It is literally the nerd mecca. So, again, for him to be able to come in, do these innocuous panels with the reputation that he has, with knowing who he hangs around with on the internet, I'm really struggling here. This actually could go either way.
And I love those because when you really get into the nitty gritty, those are really useful panels. Even that was rejected. I have been invited to submit panels for San Diego, so if the press badge doesn't work out,
cool.
You could be Jerry. You could come up with a completely different name for your badge. Jerry.
What happens? Yeah.
What does Tardo call you again?
All right, so I think we're pretty much going to call it there in terms of reacting to it. We'll keep going with the article. But again, Gary has a very good attitude about this. Whatever happens, happens. That being said, I think that's for show. I think that's, he's saving face. He's saying, look, to my live audience, don't throw a fit about this. Don't send a bunch of angry letters and tweets to Comic-Con, as if people still write letters nowadays. He's playing it very cool, very soft, very coy, because, again, you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. I think there's probably going to be a lot of phone calls and handshakes being made in the back room to try and get Gary his press pass back, if this was in some sort of cancellation attempt. And if it's an honest mistake, oh well, you refill out the paperwork, you get it fixed, it is what it is. Gore went on to detail that WonderCon, which is operated by the same company that puts on San Diego Comic-Con, Comic-Con International, rejected 3 panels he submitted for the show. And he explained, I submitted 3 panels, which is what we just heard. Gore did inform Beekler, I've been invited to submit panels for San Diego Comic-Con, so the press batch doesn't work out. So it looks like Chris Gore is going to have panels at San Diego Comic-Con, and he's trying to give Gary an in. And yeah, while that is a nice gesture, and of course, again, we want to see Gary at Comic-Con, it's not gonna be the same because you can't really get the same level of reporting content out being a guest on a panel. That's very different than a press badge. Beagler's press pass being yanked comes in the wake of Anna, aka that Star Wars girl, noting that C2E2 revoked her pass. She shared on X on April 4th, got the email, C2E2 cancel my press pass, it's on. Now, I didn't cover this. When Anna got canceled for her takes on, when Anna got canceled from being at C2E2, it was something that sort of passed me by. I figured, you know what, this is kind of a nothing burger because we have seen so many cancellations of the individuals in our space at the time. I would also say Anna is, believe it or not, in my opinion, a far more divisive individual on the internet than Gary. She might not be as big, she might not have as much clout, but, she's a woman. Women can be emotional, women can say and do things that are a bit vindictive and mean, so it wouldn't surprise me if Anna came out and had done something to upset some people in C2E2 that got them all canceled. Now, again, is that fair? No, not all. I'm just saying, I can see it happening, and because we've seen so many individuals on our side of the internet get canceled and banned from cons, the whole nine. Again, as someone who cannot stand John Delraz, if you're watching this, Johnny boy, I don't like you. You know I don't like you. I don't think you like me. But his cancellation from any sort of cons he's gone to is absolute bogus. It's absolute crap. He's been like forcibly removed from conventions for just simply attending panels for people that, you know, wrote comic books that he disliked. Wasn't jumping up and down in the aisle, wasn't screaming at him, wasn't doing anything, egregious. He simply sat down and attended the panel, and he was asked to leave. There was security that came up to him. So yeah, I find our side of the internet being very attached to these convention spaces, which is wild considering we're the ones that have built these conventions up and made them what they are, brought awareness to them. I've been going to conventions ever since I was, no joke, 6 years old. In fact, by the time you're seeing this, I'm on the road to a convention right now. I'm recording this in advance because I'm spending the whole weekend at an anime convention, so who knows what content's going to be like the next couple days. But the fact of the matter is, yes, the people that have spent their time building up these conventions, the people that actually care about nerd culture, are being removed from them. And while I didn't cover the Anna stuff, that doesn't mean it's not equally as important, or also doesn't mean it doesn't relate to this. Seeing it happen twice in 1 month to people that are on this side of the culture war, again, there's some fishiness there. In response to fellow YouTuber That Umbrella Guy, she confirmed that she had previously been approved for a press pass, but was subsequently put under review and then canceled. She wrote on X, they had previously approved it, then put under review, and when they found out I was friends with John, Shane, and Ethan, it's total BS. John Delraz, Ethan Van Sciver, Shane, whatever his last name was. Yeah, basically because Anna plays nice with ComicGate, they canceled her. They also canceled, from what I recall, if I'm remembering correctly, all of ComicGate. At the end of the day, you guys get what's going on here. There's only so many ways I can slice the idea that Gary from Nerdrotic himself, the big nerd, may have very well just been canceled from Comic-Con, banned from appearing as, somebody, as a part of the press, despite the fact that that is what he is. He has had actors, he has had directors, he's had multiple people of prominent personalities on his show. He is a big name in the nerd world industry. I mean, he is right up there with, like remember how we used to revere Joss Whedon and Kevin Smith as being like god of the nerds before they turned into whiny little bitches? Gary is like the new evolution of that. He is a nerd that we know is a real true nerd, that we can get behind, that we can appreciate, that we can love. And we don't have to agree with everything he says. We don't have to like his past or anything to that. But the fact of the matter is, you cannot deny the man is a real nerd. And if just because of his political beliefs or his ideological beliefs, or because of who he has on his show or on his platform, or because of who he's tangentially associated with on the internet, if all that is enough to get somebody with over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, who is known as the face of the modern nerd culture, canceled from being from holding a press pass, when that is quite literally part of his job, what does that say about the modern day convention industry? I would like to know. I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. Not always about Nerdrotic or other YouTubers, the convention scene, but anime, movies, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord, choose the articles I go over on a day-to-day basis, choose the videos that I react to on my live stream, and of course, join the growing community of the Vital Idols. We are well over 50 strong at this point, and it just keeps growing. It is a bustling community where we value diversity of thought. Become a member, join the Discord. One-time membership gets you access for life. And until next time, it's all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.